Alright, welcome back. Hey, look at that. It's Splitfest. Oh, that is so good. Here we go. Let's see how we're doing. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Good. That's good to start off with. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised it's so evenly split. Alright, let's... So yeah, we're repping Team Saturday. I'll be honest. So, you know, when it comes to picking a Splatfest, there are generally two schools of thought. Picking the one you actually believe in, which, yeah, I know some people would be like, oh, that's the only school of thought. But no, that's only one of them. Is that fucking... Okay, whatever. And then the other school is you pick based on your idol. Right? So, oh, if your favorite is, right, Shiver, you're going to pick Shiver every time. For the most part, right, I pick the team I, right, agree with. This Splatfest, though, I went with Team Frey. Not because, if I'm being honest here, between the three, I would actually say Friday is the best one. Because I think there is something so relaxing about getting home from work on a Friday and just being able to, like, fully decompress. I find that so relaxing. Saturday's good. Sunday sucks. Sunday is, oh god, I have to go back to work tomorrow. Ah, shit. Right? For those who don't work on Saturdays. Or Sundays, I mean. You know, because it's the Lord's Day. So, but this time I was like, you know what? It's been a year since Frey won a Splatfest. This is her best chance ever. Fuck it, let's do Frey. Like, if honestly, if the Splatfests were more even, like if it was basically alternating every time between Frey, Shiver, and Big Man, I would have picked Friday. But because it's been a year since Frey won, yeah, no, I went Team Frey. Oh my god, that's so good. So yeah, so tonight we do actually have a fair few news stories. We got all three of the big console manufacturers, Sony, Xbox, and Nintendo all have news stories. And then we have a few other things. We have at least one other thing. We got the Splatoon DLC information. Right, because we finally got our big overview. Because the Splatoon DLC comes out next week. So we got that. And then we have WIBE. Which, I'll be honest, I don't have much. But I do have something. Or at least I think I have something. And then yeah, and then I think that's it. I don't know how long of a night it's gonna be. But we've at least got a few things. I don't know. We're starting late tonight because I was so tired. I'll be honest. I got home from work, ate a burger, and then just fell asleep. And my goal was to wake up before 9 and be like, oh yeah, we'll start at 9, 11 Eastern. And then I woke up at 9, like 9 on the dot. And I was like, fuck. And so I just spent the next hour taking care of other things. you know, combing through news stories to see if there's anything I missed. Nothing I really cared about. And so yeah, we're here. Oh, I have a story I gotta tell later. I have something that I've been building in the background that I set up back in like December, and I've just been waiting for it to pay off. And now here we are finally in February, and it finally paid off. So I gotta tell that story. Gotta remember to tell that story. I'm really excited for the DLC. The Side Order DLC comes out next week, and I'm really excited. You know, it's looking like it's going to be a whole lot of fun. You know, and we'll talk about the trailer here in a second once we finish this match. Shit. And then I'm drinking a Shirley Temple with, you know, a little bit of the sauce in there. And God, it's good. That's kind of been my addiction right around now. Right? Like, I've gone through a lemonade phase. I've gone through a Kool-Aid phase. Now I'm at the Shirley Temple phase. But God, is it good. Oh yeah, we get a Splatfest bonus. Alright, so our first news story today is... Okay, so there was talks of a Nintendo Direct this week. That didn't happen, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. That's another news story I will bring up a little later. But the rumor was, hey, we're getting a Nintendo Direct this week. And I believed it, honestly. But I mentioned last week when we did our Direct predictions, I was like, you know, we're probably not going to get a Nintendo Direct, or else they would have saved the Side Order trailer until next week, or until the Direct, and they didn't. So when I woke up like Tuesday morning, in the Side Order trailer, including the new season trailer, was up on YouTube, I was like, yep, we're not getting a Direct this week. No chance. Because if we were getting a Direct, they would have saved the Side Order trailer for the Nintendo Direct, right? I know it comes out next week, but they still probably would have saved the, like, 6-minute overview trailer for next week. And they didn't. You know, for the Direct. So that was the moment I knew a Nintendo Direct wasn't happening. Now, we'll talk about it a little later, but I just find it all interesting, you know? Because we got that, and we got a Princess Peach trailer, which I honestly don't have on the docket this week. Because I do not care about the Princess Peach game. Like, honestly, I'll probably pick it up, assuming the reviews aren't terrible. Like, if the reviews are higher than, like... I don't know, if the game scores higher than, like, 70... I'll pick it up. We ran out of ink and we're just screwed there. So yeah, if the game scores like higher than 70, we'll pick it up. Or, yeah, let's say I don't know, 70 kind of feels too generous to me. Part of me wants to say it scores higher than 80, but I don't think it will. I don't know, it doesn't look bad. It just looks kind of mediocre. And that might be its biggest sin. So yeah, but yeah, they showed some new transformations. Who cares? I don't know. It doesn't look terrible. It just doesn't look great. So the actual Side Order trailer. Well, let's start with the main. So we're getting a fresh season. One of the final seasons. I'm gonna guess we have 2 left. We've got a fresh season. We've got a summer season, and then we've got probably one more season in the fall, and that's it. Then we're done, and we're on to Splatoon 4 next year. Maybe. Maybe. We'll talk about it. But yeah, so we got a new stage, Marlin Airport. You know, I love the airport stage in Mario Kart. Sure, it might be good. It looks okay. They're bringing back the propeller platforms, you know, where you spray them with their ink to move a propeller. That's a fun stage gimmick that... Was it Anchovy Games that used that gimmick mostly? I think it was Anchovy Games that mostly used that gimmick. So I'm like, oh, okay. You know, I haven't thought about it in a while. We got that. We have 2 new weapons. The Recycle Brella, which is... It's a Brella, but the gimmick is that it regenerates its Brella really quickly. So the Brella, like, you pull the trigger to pull out the Brella, it opens really quick. It then shoots out of the Brella really quick. And then once the shield is broken, or like it falls off, or, you know, it wears away, it then regenerates really quick. So the whole gimmick is that it's a really quick regenerating Brella. Which, you know, that's not a terrible idea for a gimmick, right? I definitely like it more than the gimmick of the undercover Brella. But Brella suck in this game. Nothing has changed. Brellas still suck in this game. Like, I don't know what happened between Splatoon 2 and 3, but they broke Brellas, and nothing they've done has fixed it. Alright, no matter what changes they make, nothing has actually fixed Brellas. And that kind of sucks, you know? Because I liked Brellas. I used either the default Brella or its other kit. I don't know. I used a Brella in 2. And, like, they're very technical weapons, right? They're definitely one of those hard-to-master weapons, right? Where you gotta put a lot of practice to get good at them. But I do like them. I did like myself the Brella in the second game. Specifically for competitive modes. Right? I used Brella in competitive, and I used Blobler and Sploosh-O-Matic in Turf War. I guess Ranked Battle is where I used Brella. But, you know, I really did like Brella. And I do... And there's a part of me that misses it, but... Honestly, I really do like the bucket we have. Using the I never pictured myself as a Tri-Slosher user. But no, Tri-Slosher is actually pretty great. All the buckets are good. And, okay, well, Blobler is bad. But Blobler is a weird, fun weapon that I kind of love anyways. Like, Blobler has its own charm that I'm not going to look past. The other weapon is Dowser Dualies. The Dowser Dualies. And you know how we got the S-Blast? Imagine the dually equivalent of S-Blast. It's a very long-range weapon. I want to say it's the longest range dualies yet. But when you roll, they become short range. They become short range, their fire rate rapidly increases. So that's an interesting gimmick. I could see them being I want to say they're like a 5-shot weapon. So, you know, I see the potential there. They could be very strong. Yeah, I know we have kits for these weapons. I, for the life of me, cannot remember any of the kits. We've gotten a bunch of kits. Yeah, I cannot remember any of them. The only one I even kind of remember is, the Dreadringer, which we got today. So, of course, you know, a bunch of new weapons are getting kits. We're getting a new E-Leader kit that I want to say has Beacon. I want to say we're getting an E-Leader kit that has Beacon. Are we getting an Explosher kit? I don't think so. Because I think Explosher is still one of the only weapons that doesn't have a second kit. We're getting a Squiffer kit, which I think is like, honestly, most of the new kits this update kind of suck. The one good kit, though, is Squiffer. I do not remember what it has, but I think that's like the one good kit. I'm trying to look it up, but I misspelled Splatoon. But yeah, the one that really sucked is today we found out about the new Dreadringer kit. And, you know, based on, like, the trailer, it was like, okay, it looks like the Dreadringer is either going to have Can, which I cannot remember the name of Can, or it's going to have Torpedo. It was like, it's going to have one of those two, and the special is probably going to be Crab Tank. That sounds like a great kit. Squiffer has Zipcaster. Yeah, that's it. That sounds great. Honestly, I think Squiffer could really benefit from Zipcaster. Yeah. But no, the new Dreadringer kit is awful. Instead of getting Torpedo and Crab Tank, it got Beacon, which it does not need. Because, the new E-Leader also has Beacon. And it got Wavebreaker. It's a support bucket. We did not need the new Dreadringer to be a support bucket. We really did need an offensive bucket. And Crab Tank and Torpedo would have been amazing. But nope, they ruined it. They ruined it and killed that bucket's dead forever. What was the other one? Dapple Dualies, or Dowser Dualies, I mean, has, regular nozzle. Does it not say on this tweet? Say hello to the Dowser Dualies. This weapon features unique adjustable nozzles that can be switched depending on the situation. Regular nozzles for long range. While the secondary rapid fire nozzle makes short work of nearby targets. Compared to the dually. Does it not say? Oh, it has Ink Mine, and I have no idea what the special is. I don't know. Dowser Dualies have potential. Yeah, we got those. Recycle Brella. Canopy. The new Recycle Brella. Fresh season. Its fast canopy release and cooldown is possible thanks to the unique material. It is primarily seaweed and environmentally friendly. What other? I know there were other kits. We've got the shiny Flingza Roller with Suction Bomb and Splatter Color Screen. Okay, I don't think that's better than the original Flingza, which has Missile. Yeah, Squid Beacon and Wavebreaker on the Dreadringer. Is it Dreadringer D? Squiffer has Zipcaster and Autobomb. Yeah, that sounds like a great kit. 52, the new 52 Gal Deco has Curling Bomb and Splatter Screen. I don't think that's better than its normal kit. And yeah, that's all the ones. I think that's all the ones they revealed so far. There's still a few more that weren't. I want to say Nautilus has a new kit. Maybe either Nautilus has a new kit or it's one of the few weapons that doesn't have like a second kit. I don't know. So far, honestly, with the exception of the Squiffer, none of the new kits have been better than kits we already have. Which that kind of sucks, right? New update comes out, we're excited for all the new kits, and they're all demonstrably worse than the ones we already have. I actually saw someone make a tier list today comparing which weapons have both kits are good, which weapons have the primary kit, the original kit is best, which weapons have the new kit as the best one, and then which weapons have both kits are awful. And I was like, yeah, Fair. Some fair things in there. Big Swig. Big Swig was a weapon I was so excited for. I wanted Big Swig to be great, and it just wasn't. But okay, we've been talking about weapons for too long. We have a new stage. We found out this is going to be the final Salmon Run stage. It's called Bone Rattle Arena. I actually think it's a good-looking stage. You've got like these big like mountain with like a salmonid face sticking out of it, and it's very Mad Max, but that's like really cool. Wow, we have not seen a single other team. Team Sunday. But no, I think it's a good-looking Salmon Run stage. I'm just surprised it's the final one. Specifically, I'm surprised it's the final one because where the heck is the ruins of Arc Polaris? Like, Arc Polaris is very important. Was a Splatoon 2 stage, or Splatoon 2 Salmon Run stage, that was very important for the story. Right? Like, it literally, Arc Polaris set up the story of Splatoon 3. And mostly, in, somewhat subtle ways. So I'm really surprised that Arc Polaris didn't come back. Like, they should have totally brought it back and made some, like, changes to it to reflect the events of Splatoon 3 story. But no, they just didn't, and instead, it's not returning. And as far as I know, it's the only Salmon Run stage to not return. Now, the other concern with, speaking of maps, is so we got a new, right, we have our new flat map, Marlin Airport, but they didn't announce a returning old map. So there is a concern that maybe this is one of the last two maps. That the next update, the summer update, might be the final update, and it's only going to have one more map in it. Because I would have assumed they would have, like, if, I don't know, I'm just going to pick a random stage, Muscle Forge Fitness. Like, if Muscle Forge Fitness was coming back, they would have told us in the trailer. And there's only, if you go to the recon area, where you can, recon stages, there's only 2 slots left. So I'm actually really surprised that they didn't introduce a new stage. And I think it is totally possible that we only have one stage left after this update. It would suck. I would love to see more. Honestly, I'm not ready for this game to be over. I know we're at almost we're at the 2-year mark in September. And the first 2 Splatoons only got 2 years of support, and then one random update a year and a half later, or I mean half a year to a year later. So that's still possible that we'll get some new the Kenzai kits or whatever. But I'm genuinely actually really surprised that we're so close to the end. Because it just doesn't, right, especially with us getting the DLC next week, that I hope brings a lot of new life back into the game. It kind of sucks that, this is kind of it. I don't want it to be over. The other thing they're adding, which this should have been added around the 1-year mark. So for the next Splatfest, so not this one, but the one next, you know how Tricolor has the super sprinkler? I can't remember the actual name of it. The next Splatfest is going to have fizz bangs, which they're basically I'm assuming they're going to work like clams in right from Clam Blitz, but they're little bombs that you can pick up and throw to do little firework explosions during the Splatfest. Really needed. Honestly, my big hope was that when they introduced Tricolor, we were going to get multiple types of events for the Splatfests, right? We had the Mega Sprinkler, and I was like, oh, maybe, one of these updates brings in a Mega Suction Bomb, the Suction Bomb from the story, from the Octo expansion. That would have been cool. Bring back the Mega Suction Bombs. Maybe another update did, I don't know, a giant auto bomb that you could make follow you, and you could lead it between the bases to do a massive explosion. Like, that would have been really cool. Right? There are a number of things they could have done to make Splatfest more interesting, and they only ever did the Mega Sprinkler until right before the game ends development. And there are maybe 5 Splatfests left. That sucks. Honestly, I hope they just keep doing Splatfests. Like, I know they only promised, 2 years of support, but I hope that after the 2 years are up, they're like, oh yeah, here's another year of Splatfests. Because honestly, they have not done that many. For the most, up until about the 1 year mark, we were only getting a Splatfest every other month. Admittedly, they were doing other stuff in between that, right? We had extra work, we had Big Run, right? Like, it wasn't like they were doing nothing during that time. But Splatfest for the first, year of the game were definitely spaced out. And it's only after the first year that they started doing them again on a monthly basis. Because, I mean, it really comes down to how hard is it to add a Splatfest. You gotta make a new design for the t-shirt. And what else? You gotta add some artwork to the game. Make a new design for the t-shirt. Is there really... Is that... Maybe make a new tricolor stage? I don't know. I definitely think that Splatoon 2 did Splatfest better. Tricolor Splatfest was a good idea that I feel like they just didn't fully execute on. And, Shifty Stations in Splatoon 2 was just so much better. Not every Shifty Station was great. There were some really bad Shifty Stations. Could I tell you which ones they were? Not off the top of my head. But I can guarantee you there were some... I remember there being some bad ones. Some ones that I really hated. But there were also some really good ones. The final Shifty Stations. Where Pearl and Marina actually showed up in the battle. Well, specifically Pearl. That was awesome. That was a great finale to Splatoon 2 in Chaos vs. Order. But no, now we're ramping up towards Splatoon 3... Or Splatoon 4, I mean, on Switch 2. I only say that as a half joke. I'm only, half joking about that. So that actually... okay, so that's all the new stuff coming in the next season. But what about the side order trailer? So we got a side order trailer explaining how the game works. And basically, side order, we already knew it was a roguelite, but they basically went over how the roguelite element works. Right, you're given a choice of hey, do you want to do an easy, a medium, or a hard difficulty level? There's also, I guess, a 4th difficulty level that wasn't in the trailer, but people who have got to play the DLC early at a Nintendo event mentioned there was, a ridiculous difficulty level. So there is a 4th one. And you pick your difficulty level, you complete the challenge, right? It could be hey, you're moving an obstacle from one side of the stage to the other, right? There was a special type of sprinkler. Maybe you had to roll a ball. The return of everybody's favorite 8-ball from the Octo expansion. Defeat all the enemies, close/open portals. You have some sort of objective you complete. If you complete the objective, you get the color chip and move on to the next level. If you don't complete the objective, well, I think you have a certain number of lives, and you can unlock more. But if you die enough times, right, you lose all your color chips, you're back at the very beginning. And of course, as you play on, you unlock new weapons, new color chips. You can do, after each run, you get pearl points. And you can spend the pearl points to get permanent upgrades. Basically everything I love about roguelites is here, right? They're not making Rogue, they're making Hades. And that's what I want. Because I don't really actually like Rogue. I'm not the biggest fan of roguelites. I like roguelites. right? I like a game like Hades more than I like, say, Binding of Isaac. And yeah, this definitely reminds me more of Hades or Dead Cells than, yeah, it does Binding of Isaac. But no, it looks great. Honestly, every game is... I feel like every game is kind of becoming a roguelite now. And honestly, I'm just kind of down for it, because roguelites are fun. I mentioned I'd been replaying Hades, and I have been. And so now going from Hades to the Splatoon, I'm actually really excited. I was gonna buy... You know, honestly, if I had woken up, I should have bought the DLC. I have the money for it, because it comes out next week, and we should have checked out the new lobby. But I just completely forgot, and I'm not gonna do it now. But no, there's a lot of interesting things. There's a lot of... Right, we see multiple boss fights in the trailer. There's, like, this giant, like... Imagine one of the 8 balls, but giant. You know, the 8 balls have come back for revenge. There's the tower one that we keep seeing in all the trailers. That it looks like they're setting up as the final boss. But it obviously isn't. Like, there's obviously going to be some sort of secret final boss or something. There was I want to say there was a third boss. I don't know how many floors the Tower of Order is going to have. The highest I've seen so far is 30. But I would not be surprised. I'm going to guess it goes up to 50. They could do Pit of 100 Trials. Right? I mean, like, the new Paper Mario comes out later this year. They can totally do Pit of 100 Trials. Or Cave of 100 Trials. I kind of don't remember. I don't know. Wind Waker has between Wind Waker and Paper Mario, one of them has a cave, and one of them has a pit. And I don't remember which is which. But yeah, you know, the 100-floor tower. I'm excited for this DLC, right? I feel it's one of those things. Listening to people who actually have played it, the Nintendo reps described it as like, oh, you know, as you go through the tower, right, every tower is a unique experience. So it's designed to be played over and over again, right? You can get thousands of unique playthroughs. But the other thing that I find interesting is that the chips are designed to break weapons, right? They don't want you to make like, oh, well, you know, this one just upgrades your fire rate, or this one upgrades how fast you refill ink. Like, some of that is there, but the goal is to make broken weapons. Like, the goal is to turn every weapon into a Grizzco weapon, which is a very good idea, and maybe even going beyond that. Like, that sounds very solid. So no, I am genuinely excited to see, like, where this goes, what this becomes. And it comes out in a week. Less than that, even. I think it comes out on Thursday, and it's Friday today. Well, for at least, like, another 20 minutes. But no, everything I've seen looks great. I'm really glad we're getting new enemies. I'll be honest, 3 games in, I'm kind of done with the Octarians. I'm sure there will be some sort of Octarian in this game. Like, Girl Power Station is 100% making a return. Even though Girl Power Station is kind of like a beta of this whole thing, we're definitely going to get some sort of, something like that. But no, I think it's great. I'm glad we're getting a new enemy. I like the new enemies' designs. I like that they didn't just go one for one on shit we've already seen before. We're getting new stuff. That's cool. So no, I'm actually really excited for this. I don't know. Honestly, Splatoon DLCs are fantastic. The default Splatoon 2 campaign was fine. You know, I thought the Splatoon 2 campaign was fine. Nothing great, but it was okay. And then the Octo expansion was amazing. So I really do have hopes that this is going to be something great. Yeah. We're almost done with Splatoon. It's a real sad shame, isn't it? Yeah, I could keep going talking about Splatoon. God, I love this game so much. We put a lot of time into this game, man. Compared to Splatoon 2, right? Like, the difference is, in Splatoon 2, we were playing that game monthly. But that was about it, right? Outside of our monthly play, I was not touching the game. Splatoon 3, meanwhile, off stream, I am playing it, and I'm having a great time. Not always, right? Like, sometimes I'm really frustrated, right? Like, I'm back in S rank again right now. Getting back to S rank was such a pain in the ass, but I did it. And I'm immediately, of course, going to lose it next season. But I was able to get it back, at least for now. But no, and we'll definitely be streaming the DLC next week. Not on Thursday, but probably that Saturday. We'll be here, you know, we'll do in chat next week. And then the following day we'll do the DLC, and it'll hopefully be a whole cavalcade of fun. It'll probably also be really frustrating, because again, I heard this stuff gets hard. Which, you know, I'm down for. Yeah, fuck it, I'm down for that. Alright, so next up, Sony had their investor meeting, their big event. You know, all the companies are doing investor meetings right now, because it's the end of the quarter. So, you know, we've got Xbox's thing to talk about, but Sony, this comes from Gamatsu, Sony Interactive Entertainment will not be releasing any new major existing franchise titles before March 31st, 2025. So right, we talked during the Sony State of Play the other week that, like, Sony's kind of in a rough position where they don't really have any new exclusives coming out anytime soon. And yeah, this whole thing does not help with that. The fact that they don't really have anything, that's not exactly a good sign, you know? Like, people already complain about how few exclusives there are on PlayStation. And you know what? Fair. There's not that many. There are some really good ones. God of War Ragnarok was great. Spider-Man was great. Other games I can't think of are also good. I guess people are really enjoying Helldivers. I don't know. I know nothing about the game. It does not appeal to me at all. But I guess people are really enjoying it. Regarding first-party software, we aim to continue to focus on producing high-quality works and develop live service games. Sony Group President, Chief Operating Officer, and Chief Financial. But while major projects are currently under any new existing franchise titles, not physical. So, and you know, that I will admit that's part of Sony's problem, is they're focused on live service games. Live service games do not sell consoles. I mean, okay, I guess there are people who only buy an Xbox or a PlayStation to play Madden, to play FIFA, to play NBA 2K, or whatever the fuck FIFA's new name is. Right? Like, I know those people exist. But, really, first-party games sell consoles. Spider-Man, God of War. Those are the type of games that sell consoles. And so Sony switching over all their priority to live service games, I feel like it was a very bad idea. And it has already backfired, right? The Last of Us online game being canceled has right, that's already one example of it backfiring. But you know, you can't just make all the money. You gotta make more money than God. And the only way to do that is live service games. So that's why Sony did it. And part of me is kind of glad it's blowing up in their face. Because that, you fuck around and you find out. And this is them finding out. But you know, we'll see. We'll see how this all turns out. But no, this was not a good report. The other part of this report was that they said that the PS5 is in the latter half of its life cycle. So even though this console is only 3 years old, they already consider it as halfway through its life. A 6-year lifespan. Like, I know the Switch is, in 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, the Switch enters its 7th year, which I know is only like a year longer, but the Switch is potentially going to hit an 8th year. Well, again, we've got that story next. Right, the Switch is going to potentially hit an 8th year. Meanwhile, the PS5 that has no games is barely hitting 6 before they do a PS6. And, like, what the fuck else is a PS... Like, oh, wow, you made the graphics a tiny smidge better. Oh, wow, loading screens are a tiny second faster. I really don't feel like there's anything new you can add to real... Like, I kind of feel like we've hit the peak of gaming, right? Of, like, what consoles can do between just, you know, making the game look a tiny bit better and making it run a tiny bit better, right? Like, this, like, the differentiation... Not differentiation. The difference between the PlayStation and the PS2, like, it feels like this huge leap, right? We're going from a 32-bit console to 3D gaming. And it feels like this huge thing. And now the difference between PS4 and PS5 does not actually feel that notable. So, of course, where do we go from here? Well, VR, right? I kind of feel like PlayStation's experimenting with VR. I still speculate that the next Nintendo Switch is going to have some VR thing in it, right? Like, I feel like that's the next way to go. We're just not... The problem is we're not there yet, right? Like, technology's getting better, but it's not good enough to get us to the VR dream. But, you know, we have to make such slow increments. But that Apple Vision Pro, man, like, I'll never buy it. But it looks very neat. And I'll have to, at some... You know, that's one of those things where it's like you go to the Apple store to demo, just to kind of, like, see it. Like, I'm very curious about it. And I'll be more curious once more other companies start doing it. Right? Eventually you're going to get companies like Samsung and Google and, well, Valve doing, like, their own takes on the Apple Vision Pro. And I feel like that's when you're going to get something special. But, you know, we just kind of got to get there first, and that's going to be years away. But no, the PS5 being in the latter half, I know there are a lot of rumors of a PS5 Pro coming out this year. I think that is pretty likely. We're definitely getting a new Xbox this year. I mean, we'll talk about it in a second, but they basically confirmed it. But how much is it really going to add? And I think Xbox has the better idea of just being like, hey, there are no more console generations. Instead, it's just one console, and every few years we give you a new version of it. Kind of like how PC works, right? There's one PC, and it's just, hey, every few years you gotta upgrade, you know, get a better graphics card, stuff like that. That's kind of what Xbox is doing, and I honestly think it's for the best. Speaking of Xbox, so Xbox held their... So we know from last week, right, all this information about third-party Xbox games. It was like, oh, Hi-Fi Rush is coming to Switch. Starfield coming to PS5. Indiana Jones coming to PS5. There was all this information on, like, third-party games, and people were freaking out. So Phil Spencer came out and was like, okay, I'm going to put out an official statement. Here's what's going on. And it was, we're going to do that next week. Now, it eventually came out, right now, we are now living in next week. And it eventually came out that the official statement was going to be on the Xbox podcast. Now, I will be 100% honest, I did not listen to this Xbox podcast. I didn't even listen to Kinda Funny, right, do a live listen of the podcast. No, I listened to Kinda Funny talk about it the next day, so that's all I've got. But basically, right, everyone freaking out about Xbox putting all their first-party games on PlayStation. Yes, it's happening, but not in the way, like, people were freaking out about. They basically announced 4 games that are coming to the next console. Hi-Fi Rush in Pentiment. Admittedly, I have no idea what Pentiment is. I'm sure I've heard that name before, but I could not tell you what it is. And then Hi-Fi Rush. I'll be honest, Hi-Fi Rush makes perfect sense to come to Nintendo Switch. I feel like I will really enjoy that game when it does. But yeah. And then I cannot remember for the life of me what Pentiment was. And then, so those are the ones happening soon. Right? That's like phase 1. And then phase 2 is going to be Sea of Thieves. I think that's a great idea. Admittedly, that was all around the same time as the Hi-Fi Rush rumors. There were also Sea of Thieves rumors that I think we briefly mentioned, but Sea of Thieves makes perfect sense to come to other consoles. And then the other one that I'm surprised I hadn't thought of, but I'm like, no, that makes perfect sense, and I'm actually totally down for it. Grounded. The Obsidian game, right, where you're shrunken down really small, that's coming to other systems. Later, eventually. Right? Like, not right now, but eventually. And no, that actually makes, like, perfect sense. So no, I think Grounded is actually right? It's not like all the major Xbox games, but you know, Hi-Fi, right? There is a difference between games like Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, and Grounded versus games like, you know, Starfield or Indiana Jones. I feel like the games they've picked of these 4 actually make perfect sense. Wow, we got our ass kicked. So yeah, everyone was freaking out about this, and it really isn't that big of a deal. So this comes from The Verge. Microsoft is bringing 4 Xbox exclusive games to PS5/Switch, but doesn't name them specifically. To quote Phil Spencer, "We've made the decision that we're going to take 4 games to other consoles." Phil Spencer. Sources say the first 2 titles are Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment, followed by Sea of Thieves and Grounded. So they're not like confirmed, but they're more likely than not. I do have a fundamental belief that over the next 5 to 10 years, exclusive games that are exclusive to one piece of hardware, are going to be smaller and smaller part of the games industry, says Spencer on the Xbox podcast. And then, continuing on, Phil Spencer on Starfield and Indiana Jones will ever come to PS5. And then his quote, "I don't think we should, as an industry, ever rule out a game going to any other platform. We're focused on these 4 games and learning from the experience, but I don't want to create a false expectation on those other platforms, that this is somehow the first 4 games to go over the dam, and then the dam's going to open and that everything else is coming. That's not the plan today. I also don't want to mislead customers on those other platforms. We're launching these 4 games, and we're excited about it. We're excited about the announcement and everything else, but we'll see what happens for our business." Yeah, no, this, again, everyone was freaking out about this as if, like, this was the end of Xbox. As if this decision was gonna, like, ruin Xbox forever. And I was like, what are you guys, right? Like, they've done this before. Right? If this is what gets us a PS5 version of Minecraft, please just fucking do it. Give us PSVR 2 Minecraft. Like, I'll be honest, I cannot stand PSVR, the original, because I have an original PSVR. And Minecraft on PSVR kind of sucks. Like, it's just, I don't know. Admittedly, a part of it is my controller has drift. Like, that's not helping. But yeah, no, give us an actual, like, PSVR 2 Minecraft that, you know, actually works a lot better. That would be awesome. Right? I'm surprised Microsoft hasn't done, like, more Minecraft VR. Because I don't even know if the official, like, the Minecraft VR I always see, I don't know if that's actually, like, official or if that's, like, a mod. Again, I know it's on the original PSVR. But, like, for PC players. That could just be a mod for all I know. But Minecraft VR has so much potential. But no, but yeah, I feel like the game choice is great. So no, do I regret buying an Xbox, right? Do I feel like, oh, well, now all their games are coming to PlayStation, so who really cares? No. Honestly, these 4 games I think make perfect sense. They're not big drops in the bucket or anything like that. But there's definitely, they make sense to be third-party games. I'd love to, again, I would love to see Microsoft put more stuff on the Switch. I'm amazed Fallout 4 never came to Switch. Fallout 4 could if The Witcher 3 can run on Switch, Fallout 4 could 100% run on Switch. And I would have loved Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas, and Fallout 3 all on Switch. Those would have been great ports that people would have had a fantastic time with. I think they would have... Fallout New Vegas on Switch sounds so fucking promising, right? I know, Steam Deck, you can play Fallout New Vegas on Steam Deck, and I'm sure that's probably a lot of fun, maybe. Again, I know Fallout New Vegas kind of lives and dies by its mods, and you couldn't mod a Switch version, but you get my point. God. So yeah, I think everyone was blowing this way out of proportion, but that's just kind of how it goes. So our final story about the Nintendo... So we've talked about Sony, we've talked about Xbox, it's now time to talk about Switch. So I actually want to start this in reverse order. So with the Xbox podcast, right, last week the news story broke that, hey, guess what, Xbox, right, all these Xbox games are coming to other systems, and people freaked out, and then Xbox was like, oh, we're going to put out an official statement next week. And so, everyone was expecting a Nintendo Direct this week, right? We were expecting a Nintendo Direct either Wednesday or Thursday. So it was really surprising when that didn't happen. But then Jeff Grubb came out and said the thing that I was thinking. Like, I was thinking this in the background and was like, you know what? They might be doing that. But finally he said it. That, no, we didn't get even though everyone was saying we were going to get a Nintendo Direct this week, the reason we didn't is because of all this Xbox stuff. That, right, Xbox kind of dominated the news cycle. And then they announced that, hey, we're going to make an official statement next week. So Nintendo decided to delay their Nintendo Direct. And yeah, that makes perfect sense. Right? Like, oh, you do a Nintendo Direct on Wednesday, and, right, people talk about all your games for 24 hours, and then Xbox puts out their big podcast and everyone stops talking about it to talk about Xbox. Even though I think the Xbox news is a lot of nothing in my opinion, right? Like, I don't think there's any big, like, revelation in the Xbox news, right? On the off chance there was, I totally get why Nintendo would delay a Direct. And if they had done it Thursday morning, well, guess what? The Xbox news comes out later in the day, and so you get even less of a press cycle. Because that's, the one nice thing about E3 was that it got all the consoles together on the same week to do all their announcements at one place. Because now that there's no longer an E3, consoles like to space themselves out, right? Give time, right? Like, oh, PlayStation did a Direct this week? Well, we can't also do a Direct this week. Admittedly, that has not stopped PlayStation. I mean, I think back in September of last year, there was a Nintendo Direct, and then like 24 hours later, there was a PlayStation Direct. State of play, right? Like, that hasn't stopped them, but in theory, right, it's like, oh, well, you want to give some time between them, so that way our stories don't overshadow their stories. So, about a month ago, we got an Xbox showcase that, showed off Indiana Jones and whatnot. Then we got a week of nothing. Then we got a PlayStation State of Play. And then last week, there was nothing. So it would have made sense for this week to be a Nintendo Direct. But with all the Xbox news, yeah, no, it makes sense to delay the Nintendo Direct, so that way it's not being overshadowed by the Xbox announcement. I think that makes perfect sense. And that was my, right, between that and the two random trailers dropping, the Splatoon trailer and the Princess Peach trailer, it makes perfect sense that would happen. Like, I totally get it. So yes, I do think we are getting a Nintendo Direct next week. Because Nintendo has delayed their Directs before, right? Tears of the Kingdom, the Direct that revealed the name Tears of the Kingdom, was specifically delayed because it was supposed to come out like the day after the Queen died. And you don't want to reveal a game called Tears of the Kingdom the day after the Queen dies. Like, I get that. Like, that makes perfect sense. So, like, this isn't, like, a new precedent or anything. Nintendo has... and there was also the Direct that was delayed because of an earthquake. That's still... that they definitely cut something from, like, City Skylines or something coming to Switch because of that. So, yeah, no, I'm actually kind of surprised. Or I'm not at all surprised, I mean, that we probably were supposed to get a Direct that was delayed. Now, admittedly, if nothing happens... yes, part of me is speaking copium, right? Like, a big part of this is just me being copium. Ooh, shit. But if nothing happens next week, then I will say, yes, we're not getting a Direct until, like, April. At the earliest. But if if nothing happened this week, no big deal. There's always next week. But if nothing happens next week, we are not getting anything. I feel like next week is... I mean, yes, you could do one the week after that, but I doubt it. I think if we're getting anything, it's going to be next week. Because then you still want to get that Splatoon trailer out. Because, hey, guess what? You don't want to do the big Splatoon overview and then have the feature either come out the next day or the day, right, the same day. You want to give that overview a little bit of time to ruminate in people's minds. So it makes sense that they would just push that trailer out early. And then all the Princess Peach stuff, I also have an explanation for that. Because that stuff actually leaked. The Princess Peach stuff actually leaked the night before on the Nintendo News Channel thing. So maybe that was supposed to be in the Nintendo Direct. And then it accidentally leaked, and they were like, oh, well, we'll just put out the trailer anyways. I don't know, it could also be a part... we're definitely getting something. If it's not a mainline Direct, it's going to be a partner showcase. Because Nintendo has contractual obligations... and they'll fill them. I definitely think it's now more likely that it's going to be a partner showcase. Right? A week delay changes a lot of things. But yeah. So yeah, the big Nintendo thing... so right, that's the small Nintendo news. The big Nintendo news... is that, according to VGC, they've heard from multiple sources who have said that Nintendo has told publishers its next game console will now launch in Q1 of 2023. Or 2025, I mean. If you don't know, because this is stupid, Q1 is March. Right? Q1 is March, April, and May. So that is the earliest it could launch. This delay is very surprising, because so far all the rumors have been that, hey, we're going to get a Nintendo Switch announcement next month in March, and then it'll come out in like September or October. That has been all the speculation up to this point. So the idea of them delaying it is really surprising. Supposedly the reason they're delaying it is to have a stronger first-party lineup. Which, I guess I could see that. Have more first-party games. Because, again, PlayStation doesn't have any. And while that's not really hurting their console, having more first-party games would definitely help their console. So I could see Nintendo being like, oh, well, we're going to launch the Switch 2 with Metroid Prime 4, and that's it. That's they don't want to have the GameCube. Right? The GameCube launched with Luigi's Mansion, and then Melee 2 weeks later. And then I know Pikmin 1 also came out very early as well. So I could see them wanting to avoid that. And delay the console a few months. To, have, maybe the next Mario Odyssey. Maybe a Zelda. Something. I could see that. And I'll be honest, I don't have a problem with them delaying the Nintendo Switch 2. At this point in my life, let's just say a 6-month delay isn't actually that big of a deal for me. No, my problem is that this means we're now going to get another 6 to 8 months of Nintendo Switch 2 speculation. I feel like every week there has been a new bit of Nintendo Switch speculation, But with all the speculation saying the console was going to be revealed in March, we only had like a month to go. We had one more month, and then we were free. We'd all know what the console is, and people would shut up and stop speculating. It's kind of like the Fantastic Four cast. People have been speculating, oh, is it Adam Driver? Is it Pedro Pascal? Is it Vanessa Kirby? And now we know, and people are going to stop talking about it. Finally. And that was the hope for the Switch 2. It'd be revealed, people would stop talking about it. But now, they're most likely not going to reveal the Switch 2 until October. If it comes out in March, we're not getting the reveal until October. So we've now got to sit through another 6 to 8 months of Switch 2 speculation. And that sounds miserable. Honestly, like, we've been getting a new Nintendo Switch 2 story every week of this year. Like, it's something I write down on the docket every week. And doing that for the next 6 months sounds awful. I hate that. But that's probably because they're not going to reveal the console a year in advance. Nintendo usually likes to keep things right, usually do it within 6 to 8 months of release. At least that's been their holding pattern recently. So I don't think that's going to change. So, God, that's the one sucky thing about this delay. Is, God, we're just going to have a new news story every week. Oh, God. But no, I honestly, because the original rumor, like a year ago now, there was a rumor that the Switch 2 was going to be coming out March of this year. And then eventually that number got changed into like October, November-ish, because Nintendo was going to delay the console so that way they could make more units. Because at the time, right, we had a lot of PS5 delays where people just couldn't get a PS5 due to chip shortages and whatnot. So the rumor was that Nintendo was delaying their next console to make enough product so that way they could meet the high demand. Which is a very un-Nintendo move. You know, Nintendo, the company that created the NES Classic and Amiibos, delaying something so that way they can make enough of them is not something Nintendo would ever do. But, you know, all rules are written in blood. So I think maybe they learned the hard way that this is something they should do. And especially after everything that happened with the PS5, I definitely think that's a good idea. It's just, did they actually do it? And to be honest, we don't know. We don't know, and we're not probably going to know. But them delaying it to get a stronger first... If the Switch 2's first launch year is as good as the original Switch's first launch year, man, we're gonna be eating. Because the original Switch has one of the best launch years of any console. Admittedly, I don't expect the Switch 2 to have something as good as Breath of the Wild, but, you know, a Mario Odyssey 2, a Splatoon 4, a Paper Mario with it, you know, a Paper Mario, another re-release of Smash Bros. Right? I feel like there's a lot of great things that are going to be on the first year of Switch 2. If they play their cards right. Like, we're definitely not getting a new Smash Bros. But no, I'm genuine. I'm not gonna say it's the right call, but if it's the call they made, it makes sense. I see how you get from column A to column B. Because Nintendo, right, I know we just listened to Phil Spencer say that exclusives are going to be less and less of a thing as time goes on. But for Nintendo, exclusives are the big ticket items. Mario Kart 9. God, if they... Like, Mario Kart 9 sells that's a system seller, man. 2 in every 5 Switch owners own Mario Kart 8. If you can reproduce that number with Mario Kart 9, oh boy, is Nintendo going to be eating. And we're out of ink. So yeah, it happens when it happens. You know, we'll be there. Of course, we'll be there when it does. I know I keep saying Splatoon 4. Do I actually think Splatoon 4 is happening? Maybe. Like, I definitely feel like there should at least be another year between the end of Splatoon 3 and Splatoon 4. I definitely want Splatoon... Because I will say, one of the things I think about Splatoon 3 is that it's definitely not as creative. When it came to designing maps, when it came to designing weapon kits, I feel like Splatoon 2 had a lot more fun with it, and they made a lot more interesting maps in weapon design, right, weapon kits. Like, we didn't even get a new game mode in Splatoon 3. Like, what the fuck is that about? Where's our new game mode, Nintendo? So, yeah, where's our new game mode, Nintendo? What the fuck? But I could see them doing Splatoon 4. Again, I still have that idea for a Battle Royale mode. And the fact that the Side Order DLC has a Pearl drone that you glide down on and you ride a cage into the stage. Like, those are both elements that you see in Battle Royale modes. I could totally see Splatoon 4 having a Battle Royale mode where every and right, you know how in this game we have small fry? And right, every player has their own little small fry. Maybe Splatoon 4, every player has their own little drone. That, right, you get to use, you get to right, and you can upgrade it with special abilities, and you take that into the Battle Royale mode. And right, you glide down on it at the start of every match. I think it makes perfect sense. Will they actually do it? I don't know. You know, because why play a new Battle Royale when people are inevitably just going to go back to Fortnite? But Splatoon Battle Royale would be cool. I definitely have a good time with it. And yeah, I think that's all I got for news story-wise. So I guess that takes us into WIBE. So what have I been doing? So, okay. My goal tonight was going to be Amiibo. Because I've been sitting on the Xenoblade Chronicle Amiibos for like a month now. And I've been like, okay, you know, I'm just going to sit on these. And then when the Sora Amiibo comes out in February, we were going to do some Amiibo unboxings. Right? The final, what is potentially the final Amiibo unboxing. And that was the plan until... so I ordered the Amiibo from Best Buy back in like September. Right? When they first revealed it, pre-orders went up. And so it's like, you know, you pre-ordered it a long time ago. Nintendo says like, oh, we'll get it to you by release date. And I was like, okay. Best Buy only shipped it this morning. And it's coming from fucking California. That's like 5 states away. I'm probably not going to get it until Monday. That sucks. Same thing with Mario vs. So when I went to buy the new Mario vs. Donkey Kong game, my local Best Buy didn't have any physical copies. Because, you know, Best Buy is shipping away, or is, you know, shifting away from selling physical games. So yeah, my local Best Buy didn't get any physical copies of Mario and Donkey Kong. And instead I have to order it online. And again, it's not going to come until Monday. Like, what the fuck, Best Buy? This is why everyone hates you, so you're shifting away from physical copies. Because, you know, you do shit like this. God, I should have just gone to fucking Target. So I have not played the new Mario, and I've said before I am actually excited to play the new Mario and Donkey Kong. I used to love those games as a kid, so I was really excited to play the new one. I didn't even notice we had 3 buckets. Holy shit. So I was excited to play the new Mario and Donkey Kong, right? I was like, oh, that's going to be a whole load of fun. And now, nah, it's just not happening. You know, it sucks. I mean, I will be playing it. I just won't be playing it until next week. So that is not on the docket. But, boy, did I... So next week, you know, expect us to talk about that. And expect us to talk about, and to do an Amiibo unboxing. What is potentially the final Amiibo unboxing. Because I feel like, right, Sora is the last Smash Bros. Amiibo. And now that Smash Bros. Amiibos are done, I kind of feel like Amiibos are going to be done as well. Like, have they made them for other games? Of course they have. But, like, it's Smash Bros, man. Like, that's the last one that really matters. And we got the Tears of the Kingdom Amiibos, and those are great. But, like, we don't really, we got the Deep Cut Amiibos. I kind of feel like we don't really need anything else. You know? Did I actually play any? I mean, again, I've been playing some Splatoon. I've been having a good time with that. Have I been playing anything else? I can't. I've been playing Hades. It's really good still. It's still one of the best games. It's still one of the best games. And, you know, playing it again has been a lot of fun. I haven't beat the game again, right? Like, I haven't gotten that far, but I've been doing some good runs. I've been having fun with it. And yeah, it's just overall been a good time. I haven't put that much time into it. I think I've done like 10 runs maybe. Like, and that might be, yeah, probably about 10 runs. 'Cause, like, I'm okay at the game. I'm not amazing, but I'm okay. We played Turnip Boy last week, you know, or we finally finished Turnip Boy. There's like another 2 hours of content that I just didn't show in Turnip Boy. I fought that final boss 20 times, and I only showed like the first few runs in the last run. Oh my god, there was so much Turnip Boy I had to cut out. Because I was just... The game was really good until that final boss, man. I was having a great time. And that final boss was so fucking annoying. I definitely feel like if I did it again, I'd do better. I've also thought about speedrunning it. I have definitely been like, oh, you know, maybe I'll speedrun Turnip Boy. That would make sense. Because I feel like you can probably beat Turnip Boy robs a bank in like probably like 6 runs. Right, 1 run per boss. And no, it's probably more than that. Because you need to discover the secret. Then you need to do another run to buy it. So, right, you need to discover the cardboard box area. Then you need to buy the cardboard box. So but like once you get to the final area, you just make so much money that you can just kind of do whatever you want. So in theory, you could just speed run to the final area and then just fucking buy everything and beat the game easily. In theory. So, okay, so I mentioned a story that I've been setting up for a while now. So let's talk about that. So we had the Percy Jackson show. And I enjoyed it. I liked it. But as a consequence, when the Percy Jackson show, when we got like a big trailer back in like July, right? I read the books as a kid. I have all the books. But my mother has never read the books, right? She knew I was into it as a kid. And, you know, she's kind of open to read whatever. So when the show was announced, she was like, oh, I'm finally going to start reading the books. So for the past, like, 9 months, she's been going through all of the Percy Jackson books. All 15 of them. Right. So she started off, right, she did the original 5. Then after she finished the original 5, before the show had even premiered, she started Heroes of Olympus. And so back in December, she was on the final Heroes of Olympus book, the Blood of Olympus. And I was over for family dinner, right? Sunday family dinner. And I was talking to her about the book. And she said something about like, oh, you know, I really hope Leo and Oh god, what the fuck is her name? Leo and... Calypso? Is it Calypso? She said something along the lines of, I really hope Leo and Calypso end up together. Or whatever her name is. And I was like, is that your wish? Now, I want to be clear right now. I was setting her up. Right? This game was rigged from the start. So I asked her, is that your wish? And she was like, no. My wish is that Jason and Piper break up. So I just held up a hand, curled a finger, and was like, your wish has been granted, but it has come at a terrible cost. And immediately, she was like, oh, I want to take it back, right? Because I curled the monkey's paw. And she was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So, before we continue, I want to make it clear, she does not like Piper. She thinks Piper is just as fake as, like, all the Aphrodite girls she overthrows in The Lost Hero. She does not like Piper. Jason, on the other hand, is her favorite character, right? Of the Heroes of Olympus books, Jason is her favorite. She really likes Jason. So, I've never read the Trials of Apollo books, but I know what happens in the Burning Maze. So I set her up, right? I prompted the question, I gave the monkey's paw, and then I've just been waiting. She finished Blood of Olympus later, like near the end of December, and started the Trials of Apollo book. And now finally, here we are in the middle of February. And I come over for Sunday dinner, and she's just like, I'm mad at you. Why? Why? Because she got to the bit in the Burning Maze where Jason died. And I was, her wish was granted. Jason and Piper did break up, but it came at a terrible cost. Now, by the time I talked to her, like, she had read it, like, the previous day. And she was on the 5 stages of grief, she was in stage 2. She was bargaining. She was like, oh, Jason's gonna come back. Right? Like, she's, used to, like, comic book. Because, okay, her favorite character in the Percy Jackson series is Jason Grace. Her favorite comic book character is Jason Todd. And Jason Todd's second most famous story now, maybe even his most famous story, is him coming back from the dead. So she was so convinced that, like, oh, Jason's gonna come back, right? Like, oh, I'm sure, right? Oh, I'll give up Piper for Jason to come back, right? They'll be okay. She was in denial. She did bargaining. She did anger, right? She went through it all. She went through the 5 stages of grief over Jason's death. She cried at Jason's death. And I was just like, finally. Something I set up months ago finally paid off. Of course, she'll probably explain it better than I did here. Because it's one of those things where it's like, I came over for Sunday family dinner, and it was like she immediately, like, bombarded me with, like, oh, I'm not happy with you, right? Why did you let me make that wish? Because my response has mostly just been like, this is why we don't make wishes. Right? My response has been like, wishes come at a terrible price. This is why we don't make wishes. Yeah, this was all... She didn't know it was all rigged from the start, but I did. Right? I knew that a twist in a book I'd never read that came out... What, like 6 years ago? And yeah... It was just kind of... Because I totally prompted her and everything. But I'm so glad that pays off. She's actually really enjoying... Right, outside of that, she's actually really enjoying the books. Because we've been kind of reading them together. Admittedly, I have not finished The Burning Maze. And she's already on to the next book. Not the Tower of Nero. Whatever the next one is, she's already on to that one. Because, I bought copies of the Trials of Apollo's book. And then basically just gave them to her. Right, just lent them out to her. So, right, we had read The Dark Prophecy. My goal was to try to stay a book ahead. And I've just been so busy at work that I haven't had time to stay a book ahead. So now she's a book ahead of me. I'll get around. I'll finish it eventually. But no, that's my Trials of Apollo story. Really just finally a good payoff. Of course, like I said, I've never actually read The Burning Maze. So besides for that one spoiler, I don't know anything else that happens in that book. But I knew that. And I have no idea if liking or hating Jason is popular. As far as I know, Jason is not actually that liked of a character. Like, people like Piper a lot more. As far as I know. But at least for that one payoff, man, it was nice. So yeah, that's my Trials of Apollo story. I don't know, there's like 1,000 other things I'm like, oh, you know, I could read Trials of Apollo, a book I'm very indifferent on. Or, you know, I could read something I actually, like, enjoy, like the autobiography of Malcolm X. I mean, it is Black History Month, you know. On my 10 steps of things I am required to do for Black History Month, one of them is read the autobiography of Malcolm X. Or, you know, you can always watch the movie as well. I think it actually is recommended you watch the movie in the... I'm referencing a book called How to Be Black. Years ago, I listened to the audiobook of that one on a car trip to Vegas, on like a road trip. And God, it's so it's a really good book. I recommend it. And it opens up talking about like Black History Month. And there's like 10 things white people can do to show support during Black History Month. And, you know, there's stuff like watch BET, watch a Tyler Perry movie, follow Obama on Twitter, but one of them is read the autobiography of Malcolm X. So I, like, pulled it out of my bookshelf and was like, I should give this another read through. Because it has been many a year. No, I was going to say high school, but no, it was probably the year probably like the year after I graduated high school, which, God, was like, what, 10 years ago now? Fuck, man. Anything else I gotta talk about? I did not see Madam Web. I thought about seeing it on Valentine's Day, but on Valentine's Day, my local theater, at least the one I like, only did a single showing that was like 10 minutes before I got off work. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna deal with that. And then since then, right, there's a showing right before I get off work and a showing like 2 hours later. And I'm like, I could go to that 2 hour later showing, or I just could not do that. And so far I've been like, yeah, let's not do that. Why the fuck am I still with this team? I have been with this 3-bucket team for the past, like, 4 games in a row, mostly because I have not been paying attention. Why the fuck am I with this team? This is an awful team. Like, I don't even think the bucket guys are doing anything. Like, I'm pretty sure they're just fucking around. Yeah, I guess that takes us to the outro. Anything else? So next week, we're gonna be back with side order. We're gonna have another in chat, hopefully with Amiibos unboxings. Will we be back in Splatoon? Probably. I don't know. It's where we've been spending our time mostly. I don't know. Either that or I just record Donkey Kong. I don't know. I haven't really decided. Honestly, doing the recorded stuff is actually, for a show like this, right? Because I've always said, for years now, as long as this show has existed, what, 2018, I think was the first season of In Chat? I've always been like, Splatoon is just, right, it's just a medium of expression for the actual show, which is like a podcast, right? It could be any game. And since I've been doing the recordings, it's just been like, right, I can easily, like the article from The Verge, I can just easily pull it up, right? I don't have to do anything because, you know, I've just got that going in the background. It's actually, I feel like it definitely makes the show more cohesive and, you know, it tightens up the show a little bit. Like, things I would have to, like, research, I no longer have to research, because I can just, you know, or, you know, I don't have to, like, pull it up in the time. I can just have it there. It's really nice. But it is definitely our ultimate transformation towards just doing Subway Surfer gameplay. Right? That's kind of where we're at. It's just our transformation towards Subway Surfer. But, like, that's kind of always been the idea anyways. Yeah, Turnip Boy was okay. Turnip Boy was okay. Mario Wonder was good. And I don't know what else to do. Because you definitely don't want to do anything too story-focused. Like, that's one of the lessons I learned very early on, is you don't write anything with a story more complicated than jump and shoot. And then there's Fall Guys. Man, I miss Fall Guys. Like, I know I can always just go back, but it's still, I don't know, man, that wound runs deep. That scar hasn't exactly healed. Oh, speaking of it, Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. On sale on PS4 for $12. Yeah, a bunch of other things on clearance on Best Buy. I don't know where we got 2 from. We have that 100, we have, right, 182. I have no idea where the 2 came from. Alright, let's, get our daily. Ooh! Ooh, that's an interesting one. Let's use this token. I've been sitting on this token forever now. Sure. Positive Arthur. Do we have that? Do we not have that emote? It is in the next update. They're bringing back a bunch of Splatoon 2 gear and like the Splatoon 2 emotes. That's neat. Order of Knights. At some point, I want to get a gold. One of these gold balls. Even a silver. I think the highest we've ever gotten is bronze. I don't think I've ever even gotten... Maybe I got 1 silver. I actually don't know if they keep track of things. Yeah. So yeah, we did about 16 matches. Not bad. But yeah, at some point... So some point between this week and next week, I will buy this DLC. I was gonna do it this week and then just completely forgot. I also think my Nintendo Switch Online runs out today. So, right, I also have to buy Nintendo Switch Online again, which that fucking sucks. Oh, I got all the 3 new amiibo gears. I do actually have all of those now. That's very nice. Yeah, so we go to Recon over here. You notice there's only 2 blink spots left. So this update and the next update might be the final 2 stages. Like, that's it. That might be it. Of course, they could always add a 3rd page, but it'd be weird to have a 3rd page for just one thing. But you never know. Yeah, I've put all my hope in you, Frey. Alright, your team to victory. God, it's just wild that it's been a year. I want to say the last one they won was the sweet versus spicy versus... I don't think it was salty, but I don't remember. Sour? I think it was sour. That was the last Splatfest they won. It's been a year since then. I don't know. I think Tricolor Splatfest was an interesting idea. I definitely don't need to see it again. They tried it once, and once was enough. No, instead, I want massive turf war which is 100 players, 2 teams, painting a giant map. When you get killed, you're out. Or I don't know, there's probably something, maybe there's like a timer. I know Fortnite does like a timer for its like big 50 versus 50. However they do it. Right, that's what I want. That's my Battle Royale idea. Saturday. I bet, you know what movie I do want to watch again? I've been thinking about wanting to watch Encanto again. I know that movie was everywhere for a while, and I'm sure a lot of people are oversaturated on it, but I've been like, I kind of want to watch it again, because I really did like it. I also got to watch the Kung Fu Panda movies again, but those are great, man. The second one is still maybe the perfect movie. And the third one's no slouch either, right? The third one, while not as good as the second one, is still like a 9 out of 10. That maybe an 8. But it's still like, that's nothing to like, right? The only reason a lot of people seem to undermine the third one is because the second one is baby perfect. Right? Kung Fu Panda 1 is amazing, Kung Fu Panda 2 is perfect, and Kung Fu Panda 3 is just really great. Alright, we've been running in circles for a while now. So yeah, we'll be back next week. Other random thing, the final part of Pikmin 4 went up last week, right? Playing Pikmin 4, or playing Pikmin 1 in Pikmin 4. I uploaded it last week, but I think I completely forgot to mention it. So, that's up on the main YouTube channel. I also created a playlist putting all the Pikmin videos in one video, or in one playlist. I thought about that, like, maybe I should put all the Pikmin videos in one video, and one, like, I think it would be like 10 hours. I thought about doing that. I probably won't, but I definitely thought about it. But yeah, all the Pikmin 3 coverage is up on YouTube. I should maybe, with the release of the Splatoon DLC, I should maybe go and do all the side order stuff. I probably won't, because I'm so fucking busy at work. But if I wasn't, I would definitely do that. Alright, I've been running around in circles forever now. Anything else? Anything else? No. We'll be back next week, I'm excited. I'm sure we'll have a great time. I'm sure it's going to be a pain in the ass. Because I'm not one of the people who would go, like, hard every time. Do the hardest challenge. I definitely think the most interesting way to play it is to do a mix of everything. But I guess we'll see more next week. God, just please, my final request for the Splatoon 2 DLC, give us the wedding. That's it. That's all I want. Confirm that Pearl and Marina are a couple. Give us a wedding. That's it. That's my final. Honestly, just confirm they're a couple. Like, they very obviously are, but they're in that Wallace and Gromit. Not Wallace and Gromit. Bert and Ernie. They're in that Bert and Ernie way where, like, they're very obviously a couple, but because they don't say it. And I'm getting real sick and tired of all these things being like, oh, here's 2 very obviously gay characters, but we're not going to say it. We're going to leave it up to the authors, or we're going to leave it up to the reader's interpretation. Because, right, so that way the company, doesn't appeal. So that way the company doesn't, like, alienate anyone. I think Spider-Verse broke me. Because Gwen is very obviously a trans metaphor. Because she's very obviously trans. But because they didn't say it, it's led for a lot of shitty conversation. And, God, if they had just said it, we wouldn't be having these conversations. Admittedly, we'd be having different ones, right? The transphobes would slither out of their hellholes. But, it wouldn't. But instead we have all this, we have all these balls up in the air with nothing confirmed. It really sucks. I'm definitely not completing the catalog by the end of next season, but we're pretty close. Alright, so that's it. You know, I'm stalling. This is where we're ending off. I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Until next time, peace.